Welcome to Financially Naked on the Money Couch. Here again, we are talking money, money, money.
It's another
Remember that back in the days?
of money, money, money. I love money, guys, eh?
Lale,
And it gives me satisfaction to talk about it.
Exactly. You say, you know, Mrs. Money. Wait, man, to Mrs. Money, that means you shut the money.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Guys, it's such a cold day. Kuyabanda siyagodola, and we are having uthembisa mainly a chai latte. Is it a chai latte, right?
It is a chai latte.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, it's nice. What are we talking about today?
So today, we decided that it's so very important to see advise abantu abancane abalingana nathi, young individuals who just started working. What are the things that you need to look out for? What are the things that you should not do? What are the things that you should do as you start out uqala ukusebenza? So as you begin your career.
But because we are on the money couch, we're going to get a little bit naked, both ourselves,
exactly,
of our own journeys. Because remember, what's the name of the show? Financially naked on the money couch. So we're going to get a little bit of naked based on our stories so that you can relate on what are the do's and the don'ts when you're starting to work, and what can you expect on your first salary.
Exactly.
And probably it can help someone because we make a lot of mistakes that we could have avoided had we had knowledge and the right information. So that's what we're talking about, the things to consider on your first job. No matter how much you get paid, because it's not about how much you get paid, it's basically how you use that money.
Exactly. If you are faithful with the small, you will be faithful with the big. Exactly.
Definitely. Because it's all about the principles.
Sure.
It's not about the numbers itself, but it's the principles that get to be applied in the mali or
Remember that financial coaching session that we did the other day? So we just continuing
from that. On the principles that you can use.
Exactly. Sure.
When last was my first job? That was 10 years ago. Well, 9.
So what was 9 years ago?
9 years ago.
Guys, what age were you?
I was 23.
Okay. So she had her first job at age 23.
Age 23. So just after finishing my honors, I found an internship in one of the government departments.
Okay.
And my first salary was 3.5. Yes, that was the
3.5.
Yes.
Wait,
and
what year is this? 20 what?
2013.
I'm going to play living.
Wow, guys, I feel so old.
No, you're not.
Without mentioning my age. But it was 2013, and I don't know if lucky or unlucky for me, I already had 2 kids at that point.
All right. She had 2 babies.
So I was forced to mature early in life because I knew that I already have responsibilities.
Before we go any further, sorry, just to cut you on your thoughts. So often, especially whereby city, get a child, it'll force you to mature, especially if you're that individual who just likes clubbing and doesn't really have a sense of responsibility. And how true is it that you get your sense of responsibility when you actually have kids?
I mean, it's like having a pet or having something to be responsible for. If there is somebody who's dependent on you, that you know, it's permanently mine. I mean, your mind automatically tells you that you're now taking care of somebody else's. You're now responsible for another soul. You're now responsible for another human beings. But obviously, it will differ with our level of thinking, our level of maturity. How committed are you to change your ways? Because there are people who have children, but they don't get mature, or they don't take the full responsibility. I think you know, there are people who then change their ways. It differs with each person. But in my case, I think it did give me that. Not that I was a rebel, but I was always being a baby. I'm a last born at home. I'm a last born at home, following also somehow too. So some of the things that they were not that important to me when I had children, they became important. So when I got my first job, earning 3.5, I was thinking totally different.
Yeah.
So that first job forced me to think about budgeting. Why is it important to save money? Because at that point, my second child was like 6 months. So I had to think about on this 3.5, yes, the father was there, very responsible, very supportive. My husband has always been supportive.
Hey, bro.
But obviously now starting my job, I felt that sense of responsibility that I need to help him. So at least pay the crèche for the small one. But on 3.5, remember, my mother has been holding her breath for 5 years of me being in varsity. So she also had expectations of now that my child is working, I can get some support.
When is those
Oh, well, things happen. so with my first salary, although it was 3.5, but I felt like I actually did good from then, and hence it's just followed throughout my career.
Okay.
Because the first thing I was able to decide on is that I needed to find rental space that would be closer to my work so that I will not pay rent and travel.
Okay.
Because I had moved out of my hometown. I had found a job in Pietermaritzburg while my home was in Durban.
Okay.
So I talked to other interns, which it's people that I didn't know. But I had that courage to say, okay, we're all here. We're not from here. Can we find a flat that we can all share rent on?
Sure.
So that was the first cost saving for me, because we found a flat. I think the flat was about 3.5. We all shared cost. We ended up paying around those who took a bigger room will pay more. I took the smallest room, and then I was paying around
less.
Yeah, so I was paying around 800 for my rent.
Yeah, things were cheaper back then, eh?
Yes, so I paid about 800, and then from 3.5 that would mean you left with around 2,800. 2,700 there, and then I will buy food at max 800 groceries. I'm not the person who cooks every day. I'll be left with.
So you had a budget?
I had a budget, and like subconsciously, my mind was telling me that you need to know where every cent is going. Obviously, I did make some mistake here and there, but I was aware of my money.
Okay.
I was aware what I want to do, what my money is doing, and where was it going, Late, I think within 3 or 4 months into the internship, our salaries were increased to, I think, 4,000.
Okay.
And that was a better option for me. But obviously, because I had 2 kids already, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So I started looking for another job, and that salary I used to do applications,
that pay increase.
That pay increase. But the other thing that I was smart about is that on my first job, I was told that I needed to have some credit.
Okay.
But when I asked, it was one of the people that I got to meet at my workplace. They said, you need to have at least one account.
Why?
But I was like, why? That's because I was trying to buy clothes on labor. I was like, it's delays. Have a clothing account. I went and opened a clothing account. But I was scared. For some reason, I was so scared. But that helped me create
a good credit score.
Yeah. It built my credit reports, but I was still very scared to use it. So I would buy clothes because I was still building a lifestyle as well.
Because we grew up as
Yes, so I was so scared of I think the limit at that point was only 1,000 rand. So I'll pay. Now I've got a responsibility to pay for this card about 200 rand a month. I wasn't using all the credit because I still had that fear of using all of it. But all in all, I didn't get into debt that much.
Sure.
I was also very okay. I was managing to live the lifestyle. Luckily, again, because I got children, I wasn't partying at all. Here is a 6-month-old baby.
So with whom the children lived?
I lived with the smaller one. The elder one was living
in the flat, in the rental flat.
Yes.
Yay!
So in the morning, I'll go to work, pass the crèche, and then go to it. At 4, I needed to rush, take my baby, and go.
Sure.
So that also saved me money because I wasn't going out at I was the most boring person because I wasn't going out. So the money that the other interns would use and going to parties, going to clubs, for me it was saved. So I could save some little bit of money. So per month I told myself I'll save a 500 rand. And guess what? That helped me for the transition of my second job because within 8 months of my internship, I got a job back in Durban because I was fighting to get back, and that
closer
was
to family and all.
Yes,
Yep.
and that was my introduction to financial planning.
Oh,
My second job was my entry into the financial service industry. Again,
and how much did you earn then?
So when I came back from PMB, getting this, again, it was another graduate program at one of the insurance companies.
Yeah.
It was an upgrade, double the salary I was getting at PMB, but 8,300 or so. But again, I was still very aware of my money. So I found a flat and I found people to share with. So now upgrading from paying a rent of 800 in Durban, I was now paying a rent, I think it was about 2,000 because we found a flat of 6,000. Then there was 3 of us. We shared the bedrooms. Still now living with my 2 kids because now I'm back.
Sure. So Omunyamuntu would have been like, I'm being paid double, so I should be living alone.
Alone, yes. But here's the thing. I'm getting paid 8,000 rent, yes. But I still have to send at least 500 or 800 back to my mother at home. That's the other thing that helped
Family
me as well.
responsibility.
Yes, that's the other thing. We communicated with mom. I told her that this is the stage of my life that I'm in, communicating about money.
Yes.
Upfront in your career. Start in your career. Communicate with your parent. Manage the expectation.
Exactly.
Because had I not communicated, she would have thought, okay, you're living in a flat, so that means you're earning wow. You know, abazali understand ukuthi okay, ngihlala eflatini but manje ngiyashare and this is how much I actually pay. This is why also I'm doing it. Again, I found a flat. I was only paying 2,000 for that flat. Actually stayed in that flat for about 5 years.
Okay. Whoa.
Why?
Sure.
I was saving for my future apartment.
Sure.
Okay.
A good 5 years.
Yeah,
sharing.
a good 5 sharing.
Whoa.
With 2 kids.
I need a sip.
with 2 kids, and you know what helped me with saving that 500 for my first employment is that when I got back to Durban, I had a deposit.
You had the deposit
for
money.
the flat.
Exactly.
I wasn't worried. I wasn't frustrated that okay, I've got a new flat. They need a deposit because I'd saved those 500 rand. So I then learned the importance of saving.
100%. So for you guys who are still young and do not know what is this deposit we're talking about. So when you leave varsity or when you leave high school, then you have to rent a place. You don't just pay rent. On your first month, you pay double. Why? Because you have to pay for deposit for any damages and so ever. That money gets returned to you at the end of your lease agreement.
When you leave the apartment,
So you need to save up for that. It's not just rent.
So because the flat, I was the one who signed the lease, I needed to pay the 6,000 before I can make the other 2 girls pay the 6,000. So that helped me even getting a new bed now, coming to Durban, getting a little TV for and I wasn't in debt, you know. Then I went through my graduate program on my second job, still living there. Earning that 8,000, I was saving, still continue saving, and I committed to save 1,000 from the 8,000. Now my salary is double, so double my savings as well.
Sure.
So I think the culture of saving for me.
Look at that.
Yes. So whenever your salary increase, don't increase your lifestyle.
Sure.
That's what I learned as well. So nothing much changed for me. I was still that very financially aware and wasn't aiming to increase my lifestyle because I think, again, the force of maturity for me forced me to think more about the future, always thinking about the future. So my second job again was that I want to save because I think now I'm 23 going to 24, at least by 30 I should have my own home. And by the grace of God that happened.
Amen.
Taba, here it is. By the way.
It is a lovely house, by the way.
So I think at that point I was in a mission to know about money. got introduced in the financial services industry, that helped me a lot because I was not only using that technical knowledge towards the clients or whatever we are
But
learning
yourself
about,
as
but
well.
myself as well.
Okay, so you started saving into an RA yourself.
Into an RA at that point, and there were RLs that were starting at 250, you know?
What should feel it back in the days?
Exactly, and that helped me because my RA now is like way ahead.
Sure.
You know, because of those small 250 that I started with. Yes. So I then started to do an insurance for myself. Let me do a quotation for myself and have a life cover for myself, because I've been told while we're learning on the academy
why you need
insurance. They told us that insurance for people, especially with children, if you die, this is what it does. So let me try this for myself. I started to pay for my life insurance at that second job when I was only earning 8,300.
Sure.
You know? And then you find people who earn 20,000 and say, I can't afford insurance. And I tell them, no, there's nothing that I can't afford insurance, because you choose not to have insurance.
And guys, it's not that expensive.
It's not that expensive. So I did most of my planning as a test to say, if I can advise somebody on this, how is it working on me, you know? And I can definitely say that the things that I learned entering the industry as a financial planner helped me a lot.
Sure.
But in summary, the most important thing I learned at the early of my career is that you need to be aware of your money. Do not take as much debt. And I didn't. I remember towards the end of my second job, I had closed that account I had opened. Because now it was, I couldn't understand why I should take clothes, then pay for them later, while I can save every 2 months, then buy those 2Gs. I mean, we girls, our things are cheaper than boys. You know, so I then canceled that account. For me, it started not to make sense for me. But it has helped me create that credit report, credit score, and then, you know, credit history.
Yes.
Because in the industry, we needed to have a car. So by the third year of my employment, I started to buy a car. That was the other thing that I was very aware. I didn't want an expensive car. Bought a Toyota Etios, which I drove for 5 years. Again, living in that flat that I was sharing. Drove a Toyota Etios, which was second-hand.
Okay.
Okay.
And for how long did you keep it?
I kept it for 5 years.
For a good 5 years.
Good 5 years.
So you're on your second car right now?
I'm on my second car right now. I kept that Etios for 5 years. I paid, I think, about 2,200 for that Etios, but it was a good car. That didn't bother me with anything, but I was aware that I will not be paying for a car more than 4,000, which is half of my salary.
Yeah.
I was earning like 8,000, so I'm already paying 2,000 for rent. Another 2,000 should go for a car. And insurance was around 800 rand.
Okay. Was the medical aid in the picture at any point?
It was deducted at work. So the 8,000 was after the medical aid. So I was getting like 10. I guess the net was around 8. So at that point, for me, I was very aware that I did not want things that are expensive. I could have bought a Polo. I qualified for a Polo. I remember going to the dealership. They offered me, what's this? Blue, there's a Polo blue something. Blue line, yes. They offered me that, and it was about 3.8. I qualified for it because it's easier to qualify for debt.
But you can't afford.
But I said, no, man, I can't afford 3,800. And no, I'm going to take the Etios, you know? And it helped me build up some good savings. So I made a choice not to buy an expensive car. So awareness for me about money was the key. Knowing that I needed to save no matter what. I was very aware of cost cutting. So everything that I was doing was about cost cutting because I knew where I wanted to be.
Wow. There you have it, guys. If you haven't learned from Umasta herself, please drink your chai latte because it's getting cold. Let me tell you about me. Well, my story isn't that glamorous. Nonetheless. So I did.
When was your first job?
My first job, sure. It was in varsity, actually.
See, that's the difference. In varsity, I was just an academic. I wasn't focused on working.
So
that's the other good thing about you.
True.
Yeah.
So actually start finding employment whilst you are actually in varsity. I remember I had to go stand Olainini, SARS, having to go ask for a tax
number.
Whilst in varsity,
I only
people.
experienced that in my first job.
In your first job, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a scary experience because I have to go downtown, Lapangangse Free State, so Bloom, downtown, hamba phasing, hamba ngedwa, and you know, mina ngikhuluma isizulu futhi akikhona ngawubuka why kali ganyan. And then and guess what job I was doing? Ngang tutarisha, I was a tutor for economics.
Yeah, that's great though. That means you are one of the smartest.
Yes, I do enjoy economics.
Yeah.
And how much was I earning? It was probably, we earned not even monthly, we earned quarterly.
Ooh, so you have to work the whole quota?
Yes, work for 3 months and get paid. And my pay was, I bet you it wasn't more than 2,000. I can't remember the exact figure, but it differed. It was probably at some point 1.2, 1.5, 1.7, depending.
Quarter.
For the whole quarter.
So it means on average a month, like 300 or 400?
Exactly.
Something like that.
Which makes me think, why did I have to go get a tax number? But anyways. So yes, every quarter I used to get that amount. This is my second year of varsity. This is first year is 2015, 2016.
2016.
Yes, so I'd already had a tax number in my second year and I had my first job then. And yeah, so money started coming in. And what did I do with that money? Yo, guys.
So you didn't even know.
Exactly. So my parents were still helping out in terms of
monthly allowance.
Yes, monthly allowance. They didn't have to pay for. No, they had to pay for my rent, but they didn't have to pay for university fees. I had a bursary.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually got affiliated to financial planning. We did a financial speech contest back in grade 11, and I was honored with the bursary because I had won little competition there, which was a blessing. And that's how I got affiliated with Financial Planning Institute and the whole industry. Yeah. And then, there's a lot of things I did in varsity. And then move on to third year, I still tutored. And then towards the end of my third year, going to my fourth year, I started earning 5,000 rands a month. Elevate, and
so much money. He actually earned more than me in his first job, second job.
Exactly.
While he's still on varsity. I feel so bad. But anyway.
And so by the time I was earning 5K, I was renting. So now I could afford a bit. I wasn't as wise as she was. I decided I need to upgrade my lifestyle.
So you rented.
I with commune in my first year, second year, third year. By the end of my third year, fourth year, I got a single room and I was paying like 3,500. But I was still getting an allowance from my parents. But it wasn't that much. It was like 1,500 in. And then from the remaining 5,000 the remaining from 3.5, which was I even paying 3.5? I'm sure I was paying 3,000 for rent. So I had 2,000 rand plus the 1.5 from the parents. Yeah. Guys, I was rich in varsity.
You were rich, but you didn't make right decisions.
Exactly, because I was upgrading my lifestyle.
Yeah. First mistake.
Yes, exactly.
Having more money and thinking that you should upgrade your lifestyle.
Yeah. Guys, I promise you, there was a time where I thought he hasn't thinking about
Still in varsity.
With 5,000 rands a month, I was like, I need a car.
Yeah, because you thought this is too much.
And then, so that was my first paying job that was serious pay, and that paid monthly. And so since the UFS 101, so if you're in the Free State, I could have been teaching you right now if you're a student or first year kind of thing. And that was 5K a month. I wonder how much you guys earn now, but yes, a little up. But it was actually such a rewarding job because I have a passion for teaching. So it was just, it came natural and it was just, the pay was good back then because you're still a student.
But was you finding a job at varsity a thing of making extra money, or was it a thing of you want to be preoccupied beside your academics?
A bit of both.
Okay.
Because I was so involved in varsity. I did a whole lot of things, and it wasn't a case of I needed the money. I did because I didn't get much allowance. but that just gave me the flexibility to do other things. Nangifuna leyo freedom leyo uThembisa actually had spoken about that other day. Nangifuna leyo freedom leyo because I know when you got money you got much more freedom to do as
a lot
using
of things,
kind of thing. So I got off the burden from my parents paying my rental, then I just only got the allowance. So that was a break for them and they could help out my sisters Ekaya, whilst they were also going through their schooling career. What else did I do with my money? She knew what she was doing with the money, mina angazi.
So that means
literally. But at least I did pay rent and I did have a bit of allowance.
Did you save any for your
Yes, I used to be such a good saver back in varsity. I wonder what happened now.
So now...
Yes, I used to save at least 500 Rand, sometimes even 1,000 Rand, literally. And if I had done a gig somewhere else or done something that gave me money, like I used to host, I used to MC, I used to do whatever I could get my hands onto, and whatever I'd get, I'd put it into my savings. And I had like a fixed deposit, got 32 days in, which I still have today. Don't ask what the balance is. So that what happened back in varsity. And my passion for financial literacy, that's where we started with my friend Akhanang. We started a financially free dorm. And that didn't really make us money, but it was more a passion project. Exactly.
Yes.
And what we used to do back then is go around varsity into the different residences and educate students on basic savings, basic investments, which leads me to our next conversation, Uguti. As a young individual who just started working, how do I go about the discipline of saving? How do I go about the whole investing young? Why is it necessary?
One thing I think that we fail to understand when you go to employment, we focus on the excitement that I found a job, I'm going to earn a salary. We forget about the responsibilities that you're about to face, the responsibility of managing yourself before you can manage money. What this money is going to do for you. So we lack the thing of asking the right questions to the right people. Finding help. We just focus on the fact that I found employment. But again, I think it goes back to the topic that we've once discussed of what is your why? Why all the time you wanted to have employment? You're going to earn a salary. What is that salary supposed to do for you so that you'll find the right help to achieve that goal? So the anxiety then comes when you see that first salary, you haven't saved, because one, you don't even know what is savings. What does it say, save in your life? So I think the important thing for somebody who got their first job, find the right knowledge. If you can access a financial planner, a financial coach, somebody that will guide you on, okay, you started working. One, don't get into much debt. Don't, save. Why should you save? What are the things that you want to achieve? Ask yourself those questions. As I've started employment, I want to buy a car, I want to have a house, having goals. Now that I look back, as much as I had not written the goals down, but subconsciously in my mind, I knew that I want to achieve 1, 2, and 3. At one point, I knew that I wanted to have my own house. I wanted to have a certain comfortable car,
So it
wasn't formal that I've written them down. But I had goals. That's why subconsciously I was redirecting most of my money into savings.
100%.
But if you're at a point where you don't even know that you
ultimate goal of when we achieve it, then you don't see why am I saving.
Yes, you're just waking up, going to work for 40 hours per week, and then you get paid, the cycle starts again, and it can be a vicious cycle that never ends. But if you're able to discipline yourself from the first salary, of saying, from my first salary, even if it means I save at least to 200 Rand, it will be a good habit that I go with for the rest of my life. It's understanding yourself first when you're starting employment so that you'll know why you need to save and what are the things that are important to you so that your salary will serve those things.
Okay. So number one, set a goal. The goal becomes the drive for your savings. You know exactly what I'm looking towards getting. So then I need this amount of money to actually achieve that goal at a certain age or a certain time. All right. So having a goal sets you up.
Because remember, unallocated money is idle money, and idle money is bored money. Bored money is gone money.
Nizwile.
So if imali yakho inga-allocate-iwe to anything, imali nje edwanguzayo, and imali edwanguzayo iyabhoreka.
Yeah.
Ubhoreka phela, remember when iyabhoreka.
I like the fact ukuthi imali sayipersonify.
Yes,
Iyabhoreka. Kungathi
and
umuntu.
mayisibhorekile, it will find something, even if it's not something important to do.
To keep it entertained.
To keep it entertained, and if it's not an investment, it will be an expense.
Sure.
So if it's not something that grow it, it's something that will kill it.
Sure.
So izoyitholela yona into somehow through you. So you'll find yourself, nginemali extra. Ayikho imali extra. There's nothing called imali extra. Because when you budget, you find that every cent have a job, and part of the job that needs to have is investing. It needs to go with somewhere it will grow. So budgeting is something that you should learn early in your career.
On, yeah.
Allocate every cent in your budget. We call that zero budgets in financial term. Have a zero budget where every cent is allocated at the end of selling zero. Remember, entertainment should be part of your budget.
Wow. Sure.
Okay? Miscellaneous things. If you know what's on a random month, emergency on average, as much as we can never be sure what our emergencies are going to be this type, but you can budget for them.
Sure.
Say, okay, on average, I've seen, maybe 1.5 for emergencies. Have a zero budget where every cent is allocated, because when that happens, at least you know this is where my money is going.
Okay.
You can account for each and every cent.
So even part of your budget.
Sure. Learn that from your first salary.
Sure. That is so good. That is so good. That is a takeaway. Or to have a zero budget. So in other words, na imali ngenayo, na imali phumayo. So your income and your expenses. Make your savings part of your expenses.
Yes, your investment part of
your expenses as well.
Your insurance, because we'll have a video for the just see the insurance.
Sure. Okay.
The different types of insurance that we have, because there's a huge amount of them. There's a lot of them as well.
And why we need them.
And why we need them. And this type of insurance is applicable to this type of person, because at the end of the day, ayikho one size fits all in financial planning.
100%.
Medicine. Financial planning is like medicine. There is no medicine that can heal me and also heal him.
I think we should open our own medical practice. Yeah, what?
Financial medical practice.
There we go. And charge as high as doctors charge.
So nothing in financial planning that is one size fits all. Property investment can work for you, but cannot work for me, because we all have different circumstances. So that's what we also need to understand when you start working, that if my friend buys at the BMW, as much as we earn the same salary,
we have different goals.
That might not work for me.
It might not serve me.
It might not save me, as much as we can earn the same salary. And also investing 5,000 might work for me. It might not work for me. So nothing is a one size fits all. If you know that from the beginning of your career, you will be good.
You'll be set for good. And remember, even your entertainment, guys,
is part of your budget. Because if you have not budget for entertainment, you spend it unpaid. You spend.
You even take from your grocery money.
Yes, because you're just buying imali khona. But if you've budgeted for entertainment, you know that, okay, I've bought pizza now. I've bought whatever takeaway. I've gone out with my friends. I've went to hiking. Okay, I've actually spent 1.5. Then you're able to say, whoa, is that how much I want to spend every month on entertainment? What is it serving in my purpose? So budgeting is telling your money where to go, but it's also a reminder of, are you okay with that so much money going into that space?
Sure.
It's a reminder every time of, are you okay with your money going there, and is it serving your goal and your future plans?
100%. That's what a budget does. It highlights where the most of your money goes. And where your money is spent the most tells us about your goals and what's your vision and your objectives.
Definitely. Exactly. So if we can summarize and say, what are the do's and the don'ts? We're not trying to dictate you on what to do with your money, but it's more about what are the things to be aware of when you're starting your career. I'll just list the do's that I can remember. Do save. Do have a budget. Be aware of your money. do understand your position so that you can be able to communicate with your surroundings.
With your environment, with your parents.
Parents, environment, and your surroundings means parents, friends. If friend says, let's go to a holiday in Cape Town, you're able to confidently say, oh, Bochoma, I can't join you guys. I've got more responsibility, so I'll pass. They say, every Friday, let's go to the club. You confidently can say, no, guys.
Maybe once a month.
Yeah, once a month for me, don't join, but I can't. So be able to communicate because you know your position. You know, it creates confidence for you. 5, do research and do find knowledge. Be the person who wants to know about money and finding help. There is no point on telling yourself you know everything. We can never be expecting everything.
100%.
Mangula, I don't go to prescribe myself. I go to the doctor. If I've got law problems, I go to a lawyer. So also in financial planning, if you've got financial problems, see a financial expert.
Come to us.
You know, we'll help you.
Sure.
We'll hook you up with the right things. So these are the do's. Bonbusa, what are the don'ts that you can mention?
Don'ts. Do not run into debt. In as much as you can afford.
No, qualify.
In as much as you can qualify for something, it doesn't mean that you can actually afford it. So, guys, I wouldn't say you side discredit. No. We want you to actually build a credit score. So go for it. Open a clothing account or open whatever, or a cell phone contract or whatever, but make sure it's within your limits. If you're going to open a credit card, set it to 1,000 Rand, set it to 5,000 Rand. Make sure it's something that you can pay off once, even if there's a need. It's just there to build the credit score.
Yeah.
All right. So do not run into debt, but do not run away from debt. It's good for you when you want to purchase a car one day. Exactly. When you want to purchase a house one day, it's actually a very good tool. What else would I say?
Don't.
Do not have a goal.
That's
Got
a nice
that?
one. Yeah.
Exactly. Have a goal, people. I think those are my takeaways, and they're very important.
So definitely also make relationship with your money, because a lot of times when you start working, we don't even look at our bank statement. We don't even know what's going on in our salary pay slip.
Exactly.
Some people stay for 12 months, never seen their pay slip. Make that relationship. Understand what is payee. So if you see things being deducted in your pay slip,
what for?
Ask questions. What is payee? What is takes? Why am I paying for UIF? Why is my medical aid this much? What about my pension fund? If it's what are my pension fund? What's the percentage that I'm coding? Be aware of your money and make the relationship with it.
100%.
I think those are the main ones. More of everything you can get on a personal level when you get your session with a financial coach.
100%. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And this is, of course, Financially Naked on the Money Couch. Check out our social medias. Subscribe, like, comment. We want to hear your views and what do you think of all these conversations.
And share for as many people to see this educational content as much as possible.
All right. Peace out.